the hell? Well, that's annoying. All right. Thanks, Air Server. I appreciate that. Giving away that I have a very common name. Hey, Dre. Welcome, TC. Okay. So I pulled the comments a few minutes ago. And my plan is just to honestly kind of read through them. There's a lot, but there's not that many. And then yeah, talk about it. And then pick people, of course. Yeah. Before I start, let me fix the formatting so this wraparound. Okay. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome, Jency, Jay, Jaden, Rage, Cloza, Lord and Globs. Think we'll get the final milestone? Odds are actually looking shockingly good. I would have said no not too long ago, but we'll see. Okay. So I think these were pulled in order, but I don't know in which order. It's funny either way, because either Aiden was the first or Cat was the last. Oh. Or vice versa, right? Thanks, Nikat. I appreciate it. Oh, wait, I get that. That's just Nick. But thank you. I still appreciate it. Happy New Year, Aditya. Do I recommend taking Punisher to rank 4 for Battlegrounds? I think so. He's probably going to be a ban magnet, honestly, because very few people will have him. But that frees up other champions, and if people leave him open and don't know how to handle him, then they got problems. Yeah, I am going to decline on that one, Jency, but yeah, no concerns. Got your qualifier in there. I will say, I think top 600 will be high enough that I probably won't get it, but I have been feeling that way ever since Tuesday, when I was also surprised when the 11 for 50 bundles came back, because that accelerated things significantly. Yeah, I do think Punisher's a fun attacker. He's not going to be super fast for a lot of things, but for certain science champions, definitely works. Excuse me. That's good to know, Madrox. How's it going? Any New Year's resolutions for you? I'm sorry. I can't commit to that. We'll see when we get multiple, man. I think the biggest New Year's resolution for me is to just stay more on top of working out, because like I do have some equipment at home. I have a workout bench and I have some adjustable dumbbells, and that goes a really long way. My wife and I normally go on walks at night, which has also been really, really good for us. The thing for me is that I have a really tough week, and I feel like I'm not going to get a good workout, and so I just don't pick it up at all. And I think I need to get back. I need to start viewing it more like I did trombone when that was my main thing. And just if I have time for nothing else, then like with trombone, it was 15 minutes of long tones and some light lip slurs was still better than doing nothing. And I need to just get on that with working out, because I want to actually yeah, just be in better shape. need to work out. I'm so stationary. The other thing is that, like, for some of you know this, I have a standing desk and a walking pad, and for a while I was good about on any like discussion-based meeting, I would use the walking pad, and that would be an hour of walking that I got. It was normally like, I would keep it relatively calm so I wasn't out of breath while I was talking, but that was like an easy 3 kilometers. Um, or something like that. I forget. Maybe it was more. That sounds low. Oh, that might be for 30 minutes. Anyway, point was I was getting walking in, but like the end of year rush was so intense at work that I always had something to do on the side, even in those meetings, and I can't really type while walking. So that's something I want to get back into as well. Happy New Year, everybody. Thoughts on Phoenix's awakened ability? I am also considering using a gem on her. I don't plan to show off my score, but I don't mind showing what I have. And yeah, that's why. Honestly, I thought that was 2. When did I get a 3rd? Okay, yeah, I'm. Yes, I think using an awakening gem on Phoenix is a good idea. God. I don't know when that happened. Now, what does she get at Sig 1? I know she does like Sig 200. Okay, so you have that chance to start with the Rite of the Phoenix. You have the auto block, and it starts at 20. So if you have 5 buffs, you're good to go. And then there's the I revive better thing. Okay. I think I'm going to leave her at Sig 1 for now. But I'll probably look up later how high she has to be at 25% auto block reduction, and then that's probably where I will go for now. Hey, Dilly. Difficult to walk and draw at the same time? No kidding. Thanks, Matt. I'm glad you're enjoying him. Need to go on a cut. I always like the bulk more because the weights move easier. See, that's the thing, Clubs, is that I think with where I am in my life, I'm not sure I'm ever really going to bother cutting again. Like, yes, it is fun to look more like the conventional standards with your shirt off, but it's not that big a deal with your shirt on, and I don't really, yeah, it's just, I like food, I like being properly hydrated, I like having enough energy to actually do work. I think I'm just going to try and stay active, get bigger in a sustainable way. My resolution was to be more active. Unfortunately, caught this crazy flu. Yeah, dude, it's been a rough December. Um, my parents have been off and on sick. My mom's birthday is earlier in December, and so we didn't end up getting together for birthday dinner or for Christmas, and then we were finally going to get together as a family today for New Year's, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen either because even though my parents are finally at the point where they're healthy enough to go out, um, my wife's not feeling well today, and she's not sick. We already had the flu. I caught it early up in Vancouver, but ugh, it's been rough. We had friends cancel plans last night as well for similar reasons. It's just been rough. I appreciate the sarcasm disclaimer, Jency. But yeah, I hope you feel better soon, Jay. I will say I did internally on Slack last night. I said petition to increase the amount of tier 6 class catalyst you can get in the Radiant store because I go through 20 like candy. We'll see where that goes. Yeah, speed clubs. Okay. Um, I'm gonna start reading through these. We can kind of do this in batches, but like I said, the first one I have is Aiden. So favorite thing this year in MCOC was the Rebirth event and getting Anti-Venom. I'm still happy for you, man. And going back to school in a better program. I appreciate it. That's very cool. Our next one is from Krijo, who I'm going to assume is being completely sincere and not trying to bias me by saying Jean Grey was his favorite MCOC edition. Congrats on paying off the car. That's awesome. Dre says my favorite thing this year has been Paviter. I appreciate that. Um, J Buzz says Epic of Pain or Wheel of Fate. Enjoyed the challenges. Very cool. Go to the gym and hang out with friends. Summoners Fest. Heck yeah, Josh. It was nice to meet you. Yeah, here's to new chapters. And nice K7. Lots of free stuff. The Cosmic Gem would be to hold it for Imperiosa. Well, as you can see, I did that first. So do with it what you will. I actually think Phoenix's Awakening is arguably more important to her. But Imperios's is pretty good, and Imperios has very high prestige. That was kind of why I went all in for that one. Hey, Crazy, thank you. Snoop shouts out the addition of Absorbing Man. Yeah, this is a good one. Congrats again on personal and professional life, Snoops. Aries shouts or Stig shouts out the Aries fight and last year of graduate school. Good luck on the home stretch. Adam also shouts out the fest. Very fair. Back into playing hockey. That's very cool. I I did pick up trombone again this year, and I was really enjoying it. But then I got sick in Vancouver, and that kind of broke my momentum. So I'll have to get back to it. On that note, Dot started playing clarinet again. That's awesome, and bread making. Very very cool. And then Dot's a longtime fan of spiders, so it was a good year. Maybe I shouldn't read all of these out loud, but I am going to definitely read all of them later because this is cool and I appreciate y'all. Should I be able to get Imperiosa already or did I spend some? I did spend some. I think the last piece may have already come out. Where's my handy Cat Murdoch infographic? There it is. Yeah, Gladiator Circuit already happened once. No, no, that's the placement. Okay, well that's not going to happen for any of us anyway because it's top 100. And yep, raids already happened, so they're done. If you want her and you don't have her yet, you are going to have to drop some multiples of $10. Thanks, Jay. Congrats on Silver Samurai. Honestly, my Christmas was incredibly low key, but the break has been recharging for me, which is nice. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna go ahead and pick three random numbers, in between 1 and 55, and then I'm going to quickly scan through the three that I get before I read them out loud. Excuse me. Because I did have requirements, and I think it would be a bummer if we just hear somebody getting picked and then getting disqualified. So let's not do that. All right, 1 second. No way. Oh, he's gonna be so obnoxious about it. Okay, so I've already read off two of the ones actually, because the winners who all qualify were 8, 10, and 29. 8 was Stig. I'll get to you shortly. 10 was Dot. I will also respond to you soon. And then 29 was Nah, who every time I've mentioned wanting to figure out a way to deal with these giveaways has said just send one to me anyway. Oh, but he did meet the requirements. Oh, that's so much funny. Or that's so funny. I am not joking. Oh my god. All right, let me pull up the codes. Then we can chill for a little bit. All right, where is that message? There it is. One second. Okay, I think Stig gave me a line name. It's gonna take me a minute. Yeah, you can shame him, clubs. Oh, how's it going, Joey? Welcome. Happy New Year. Dot really does have incredible luck with giveaways. It's kind of criminal. Hey, Ham, how's it going? Very cool, Joey. Glad it was a good time. Hey, Easy. Happy New Year, Punjabi. Okay, thank you for your patience, everyone, because I do want to, um... All right, Stig, if you're still here, I'm going to give you some time to clarify if that's line or Discord, because I'm not finding you on either one at the moment. If we can't sort that, then I will pull another name, but I will give a little bit of time there. Oh, I might already... I think this is you. Yeah. Okay. I definitely do, Jason. All right, and then dot, I definitely have. Okay. A second code has gone to an employee. What was the first one? Did somebody else win? Did not win a different code? My friends also call me not common confusion. Amazing. Oh. Wow. He is a lucky dude then, huh? Okay. Coliseum is closed. I already did my incursions, right? Let's check just to be sure. Yeah, okay. Cool, cool, cool. So it's pretty much battleground. Oh no, we got the we should do the special arena, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's worth it. Cool, cool, cool. All right, we can do this without thinking. Uh, Jerk. Use your 1 stars first? Aren't you supposed to use your 2 stars to build a combo and then use the 1 stars? Okay, so you're just using them all to make it easier. Okay, cool. Then I'll switch back. Yeah, I'm not doing 1 star all the way because 1 star all the way is a great way to spend a lot of units refreshing. Ah, I got you, Clubs. No, I found Stig had sent me a message like probably 2 years ago at this point, and a helpful one, much appreciated. Um, and it was just one number off the ID that he provided, so I think he probably just remembered incorrectly, and so I went ahead and sent that. So I think everybody should have their codes. Yeah, Strife is incredible when you can actually use it. Hey, Elijah. Converting half the garage to a bedroom, but first everything in the garage has to go to the new storage shed. Yeah. Hoarding is tough, my friend. But good luck on the clean the move. That sounded worse than I meant. I don't want to say that you're definitely hoarding. It's just like when you have stuff, moving the stuff around makes me nervous. But if it's a new storage shed, I'm sure you've thought through this. So I regret my first response there, this projection. You don't play arena to spend units. Interesting. Yeah, just a little bit weird. Giveaway already happened, Crazy. I made a post about it. So I'm pretty sure this is already public. Solo Coliseum will not be nearly as tight a timeline as Alliance was. Not trying to offer anything else to sway the conversation, but just addressing that point. Oh god, 2-star Rhino in here is actually terrifying. Probably does negative damage. Okay. Ooh, good luck, clubs. This is a long time. Project scraps, compulsive buyer of neat tools. Use it in project someday. Okay. Well then, I will go back to my initial reaction and just say good luck. Excuse me. Interesting egg. How was that? I'm assuming you probably just sent Geoth. Like, I know the bleed ability accuracy would be a problem, but I imagine that the grit is just too helpful to pass up. Hawkeye without perfect release is so weird. Punisher in BG1, Frank in BG2. Nice. Those both make sense. Hey, Jim. Happy New Year. How's it going, man? Very cool. Love that abomination. My understanding is palette changes are a little more work than they look like, but I get what you mean. That was a really annoying time to miss the parry. Not like it matters on 1 star. Okay. Yeah, so Dilly's question was curious about the thought process of having Coliseum for 3 days instead of the full week. Um, so this wasn't my call, and honestly, I still don't like it. But basically, the idea there was there's kind of a few different things going on. Um, it is important for live service games like ours to have people online more. It just is. That's kind of an ugly truth, but there's no hiding. Where am I going with that? We have a lot of longtime players who resist a lot of things that ask for engagement, to kind of put it in a blunt way. Um, our game is not a casual game. And I mean that not in like a qualitative sense, but like in a category sense. Like casual games are things like Candy Crush, or to some extent something like Balatro, right? That's honestly a pretty casual game. I play it at dinner sometimes if I'm not doing anything else. Or one of the AFK games where you can just like auto fight and put it off to the side, right? That is not what our game is. We do technically have an auto fight, but it's, yeah, for the most part, if you're doing anything real, you have to be playing. And you generally have to pay a fair amount of attention because the act of playing is real time, right? Um, However, because we've been running for so long and we have so many long-time players in different parts of their lives, there are a fair number of people who do prefer to approach it as a casual game, and that makes certain kinds of engagement a little trickier, is I think where I'm going with this. So, as an example of this, like in side quests, it is generally better for the team to have like you get a new resource every week or something, so that you log in every week and play the side quest. A lot of players would prefer, I just want to be able to sit down for 2 hours in one day on the very last day and do the whole thing, or on the first day. Let's be nice. Um, I'm projecting again because I'm one of the people who does it on the last day. But that's not necessarily good for the game. And it's not even necessarily good for the players, because if you're logging in to do your side quest, maybe you do dailies more often, maybe you do some arena, but just generally being in the game is a goal in and of itself. And some of that is because if you're in the game more, then you're more committed, you're more likely to spend, yes. But some of it is just because if you're in the game more, you're more likely to succeed at the game. And then you stick around. Whether you spend more or not, we want you to be here, right? And I mean that in a completely unselfish way. Like, we want you to be here. It's a, yeah, like player retention is a huge, huge metric. And for retention, you need engagement. And the simple matter is that engagement would probably be worse for Colosseum if it were do this over a week versus do this in 3 days. Um, and like, I'll be completely honest, my first response to that was, this feels like a step backwards, though, because war used to be 24 hours for planning and fighting, and now it's 20. Or now, sorry, it's now it's 44 or 38, something like that. Alliance Quest used to be you logged in whenever, and now it's you pick the 4 days, right? You have a lot more control over it. I consider both of those things very positive changes. And so my reaction to the 3 days was, this feels like a move in the wrong direction. But what I was told, basically, and I think they'd be okay with me saying this, is that the game has made so many quality of life, let's call them compromises, concessions in some ways, to players, that we don't really have many true engagement drivers in the short term left. And so one of the things that we wanted to try was, can we do that with Colosseum and really see, is it the massive problem that players are inevitably going to say it is, right? Or is it the kind of thing that you can just focus in and get some good rewards in a short period of time, and then you don't have to do it again for a while? And I don't know, because like, again, games like ours need to run experiments like that some amount of the time, like every so often. So I do think it's interesting. I think my preference would be more aligned with a lot of yours. Do you really need short-term engagement drivers? There are a lot of smart people, whose province that is more than mine, Goose, who are very confident that we do. And I don't know. I'm inclined to give them at least some of the benefit of the doubt. If I don't like something, I speak up. But the same way that if they don't like something about, if they don't like that a character doesn't crit enough, and I tell them, actually, that's really important for meta planning and class identity, and this is why we did that specifically, blah, 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 blah. If I want them to listen to me when I say that, then I kind of need to listen to them on this stuff, if that makes sense. It doesn't mean that I listen to them without any reservation or discussion, but this is their expertise. And if we didn't have smart people um, doing our systems and economy design, then we would not be here 11 years later. So I try to give them some benefit of the doubt there. Yeah, I hear you, Aiden. I think podium 3 feels achievable enough that I'm okay with it at the moment. Although I wish that on the hard difficulty specifically, the XP cap was higher. It doesn't need to be any higher on the lower difficulties. But I think for hard, I would like to see the XP cap be a little bit higher. Not a lot higher, but like 10 instead of 8 bars. I'm still divided on whether I wish tags counted for XP or not. Because, like, on the one hand, you don't want tags to be too important. It's kind of nice that you can rank characters for the mode and have them be useful again and again. Um, on the other hand, it's kind of a bummer if you're trying to beat a high score with a tagged champion and you are not maxing out at 80 and you're like, well, why am I farming with a tagged champion as opposed to just somebody else who might be able to do it faster? And maybe the answer is just don't do it with a tagged champion, and if you're just farming, use somebody else. But to me that feels weird, and that doesn't mean that it's a problem that needs to be fixed. That's something that game designers have to remember too. It's not just for players. Just because something feels weird to you, just because it's not what you expect, just because you may not like it or it's causing some discomfort, does not mean it's a design mistake. And that, I think, is one of the things that our player base has gotten a little bit too comfortable with, is imagining that anytime one of those things is true, that it is a design mistake. And so that's why I'm saying this out loud. But yeah, hopefully that makes some sense. I will keep reading through the replies because this is interesting. I got tired of fighting the fairy after 3 days. And there is some element of that too, right? Like, I do think that part of the reason that Raids has gotten a little stale is, for one thing, it is a little overcomplicated. Yes. But part of the reason that Raids got stale is that it doesn't feel as much like this big thing that you're coming together with your team to do. Whoops. That was weird. Because of just how long it takes, you're like, oh, right, I gotta go do Raids again. And because it is over a whole week. Like, there are pluses and minuses to this, right? And like the same things that can make something easier, more manageable, be a quality of life improvement, are also things that can make something more boring, right? Like, AQ is easier and more manageable than Coliseum and Raids. It is also one of the most hated modes in the entire game because it's so boring and repetitive. Balancing those two poles is not easy. I really enjoyed logging in to bring up my podiums. I would prefer one more day, but overall I liked it. I had a similar thought, is like, would I might enjoy it more if it was like 2 days for the first three podiums and then 2 days for the next two podiums, something along those lines. But like, then that would still be the same basic system, and we're just talking tuning. So Inda is giving a rather cynical comment, and I promise I mean cynical not as an attack. Like, that is the cynical take on it, and cynical is not necessarily dumb. It's not necessarily wrong. Um, like, keeping you on your toes, yes, that is a little bit of an explicit goal, but kind of for the same reason that I just talked about with AQ. If you're not on your toes, are you excited? Are you challenged? A large part of game design is managing tension. I talk about this a lot. And so, like, you not being completely comfortable is very much part of the point, right? It's why people play games like Elden Ring or Dark Souls. It's why harder difficulties exist. Like, it's not just about doing the absolute hardest, sweatiest thing. It's also just like, most people don't play on easy. And even if they play on easy, the game is going to ask them to do some things that they're not fully comfortable with, because that is part of the fun of a game. It's why puzzles exist. But as to for not getting too much practice, I don't really think that is a factor. Like, if you really dig into these fights, you can get plenty of practice in 3 days. Like, I picked up a lot on the Nefaria fight over that 72 hours. I do not think I would have gotten much better in another 72. So I don't think it's to try and keep you off of practice. And if you do decide to rank up champions, then good. That's a benefit. But it's not like that is the primary goal for us here. Um, but that is a larger overall goal for the entire game, right? If because the thing is, like, I encourage you to flip that around, right? It's easy to look at a new game mode like this and go, oh, Kabam is forcing us to level up champions. But if you phrase it a different way, isn't it our job to make sure that we're giving you reasons to rank up champions? If a new character comes out and does something cool, but there isn't necessarily something in the game that makes you feel like you need to rank them, then you kind of go, well, that's a bummer. Like, I mean, using this example, Apocalypse is a really cool character. It's a very cool kit. It's not super asked for in the modern game. And so, what a lot of players want is, I just wish that they buffed Apocalypse so that he did fit in the modern game. But we can't do that with all 300 whatever every time. And so, one of our responsibilities is giving you a reason to rank up somebody like Apocalypse. And so, you can look at that as us trying to get you to rank up Apocalypse, but it's also us giving you a reason to rank up Apocalypse. If that makes sense. Yeah, Neos. Releasing episodes 1 week at a time as opposed to dropping all at once is absolutely a good comparable. And I do think Easy is correct that that is part of it. Like, yes, we do want people to consider spending on leveling up the podiums if they don't have time, right? It's not that much of a grind to get 5 podiums to level 3. Um, our estimates are that it averages about 3 hours. But especially with the piggy banks that are running today, or were running during this, you spend $10 and you get. I haven't done the math, but I imagine that pretty easily gets all of your podiums to level 3. Like, $10 to trade for 2 hours or something. That's the kind of offer we should be making available, right? That's an interesting one, TC. I don't agree with that at all, Jay, because if you wait until the last day, then you miss out on things like Yondu being triple tagged on day 2. You should absolutely not be waiting. And see, I just don't. Thank you very much for the super chat, Jason, but I don't think that's correct at all. I think AQ's rewards are easily worth the effort. AQ is like, I don't know, 10, 12 fights on average. None of them are very long. If you have characters that fit your path, it's not that difficult, even on map 8. And then you get very reliable, strong rewards, a bunch of Radiance and Glory every week. AQ is very rewarding. If it wasn't, top alliances wouldn't keep asking their members to do it. And I'm really glad you enjoyed Patriot Hogan. He was one of my 5 as well. Me when the roster building game forces me to build my roster. Yeah, that's the sarcastic response. Hey, Stig. Yeah, I did have a good New Year. I see at least one message in Discord. I'm guessing that might have been you getting the message. But congrats, man. Yeah, I need a reason to rank champs, or else I just use the same ones forever, get bored, and quit. Exactly. Yeah, I know a lot of people didn't like this fight as much. It's just going to happen some amount of the time, honestly. I thought this fight was interesting. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the Adam fight. That's because the Adam fight just lended itself to an easier flow state when things were going well. But, like, they also can't all feel the same, right? And I think the fact that this one asked you to shake things up a little bit was also good. Nice, Jay. I'm glad to hear that. The Karina's thing. I actually like being forced to rank other champions. I had loads of revives about to expire, so I ranked Zemo on a whim, did that Karina's challenge. Very cool. Yeah, exactly, Aiden. It's supposed to feel good to take up a champion you like. AQ is the MCOC equivalent of passive income? Almost passive income, yeah. You gotta stop by and clean up the apartment you're renting out to somebody in between tenants or something, or fix the toilet because you're the landlord. But yeah, the metaphor holds pretty well. I can see that as well, Easy, breaking down the podium release a little differently. But I like having the 3 podiums on the first day, because if you're really figuring out what things work, then it was nice to me to be able to use all of them, and I actually found myself, excuse me, wishing that the 4th one was open earlier, because I had other characters that I wanted to try. But, you know, mileage may vary. Yeah, I was slow on that. I love the tags, love the necro runs where you had to use the tag champs. Yeah. Energy is my killer for AQ. I feel you there. Bluntly, I use a bit of units every week on refills. And if this were a single-player game, then that energy probably wouldn't need to exist. But because it's a live service multiplayer game, I do my best to not get mad about it. If I don't want to log back on later, the tool is there. I mean, I don't have to. Enjoyed the Nefaria more than Adam personally. You're not the only person I've seen say that, TC. And it's a large part of the reason why I've pushed back on people saying that this fight was just obviously worse, or implying that there was a design miss or something, right? Because that's not how a game this complex works. You're going to have different preferences. There's going to be variation. We're trying to make all the fights as fun as we can within the context of them needing to be challenging. Yes, dude. Congrats. I'm glad. Glad that was where to reach you. Yeah, being dumb in AQ is not particularly fun, but... They love me. Our alliance took last week off because of Christmas. My battle group still did it. Nice. Yeah, we also took most of last week off. We did 1 day of map 8 and then 3 of map 5, where joining was completely optional. I don't even know how many people did it, because I certainly didn't. I don't mind map 8, but I actually hate the lower maps. And so if we do something easier, I'm actually less likely to join. But, so it goes. Oh, I know, Aiden. And my biggest takeaway from this particular event was that I wish we had put a little bit more time into Nefaria. Specifically into giving a non-bleed release valve for his resistances, even if it was something minor like Special 3 removes 30 charges. Like, that wouldn't matter in the slightest in a lot of places, but it would have been really nice here. Oh, you know, I playtested with Lumitrix, but I completely forgot to use them live. I'm glad that was fun for you. And I got in good runs. I was above 400k base on everyone, which is, I think, kind of the rough base that I'm setting for myself. Hey. No, I think you missed the point, Weapon X. I'm not going to go back over the whole thing. But like a large part of what I'm saying here is that these are sliding scales, right? There's give and take, there's balance, there's multiple factors. So if you're saying, well, by that logic it should be different, then you probably are just missing one of the factors. Or you're not missing it, but you're just weighing it differently than we are, right? And that's just going to happen some amount of the time. Doesn't mean that somebody messed up. And that's one of the things that I said earlier, right? It's okay for us to not agree on everything. Hey, BT. I don't know who your team is, so I hesitate to say this, but I wish them luck. I hope you enjoy the game, let's say that. That explains why my alliance randomly got top 500. Yeah, there were a lot of big alliances that either took it off or took it partially off. I know For Loki is pretty liberal with taking AQ weeks off for big stuff. Yeah, I can understand that critique, Elijah. But I also think that there would have been some significant danger in us trying to intentionally make this second fight easier. Because the Adam fight wasn't that hard. And I think if we had started with a not that hard fight and then it got easier from there, and then the next time we did this was a Nefaria fight, then you just know the comments would have been like, I just don't understand this sudden escalation. Like, we had a precedent of what an Alliance Coliseum fight was supposed to be. And I don't understand why Kabam decided to ruin that. This just really feels like this mode had a lot of potential, and it's just a missed opportunity, and it's a real bummer. And I realize I'm just throwing buzzwords at the screen now, but I've been doing this a while. Hey, work, how's it going, man? And like the thing is that it unfortunately would not have really mattered. If we had even said, like, hey everybody, we're intentionally giving this an easier fight because of the holidays. The next one will be harder. Because no matter where we put that, people wouldn't read it. People would forget it. People would go, well, I didn't think they meant this much harder. It's... I'm sorry. I need to stop myself from going down the rabbit holes, but... frustrating. Oh, jerk. I think the frustration comes from the backlog of champs. I'm gonna rank up the bottleneck resources in the new limited time reason. Yeah, I get it. But that kind of goes back to the same thing about managing tension, right? Like, if you're not spending significant amounts of money, you should be feeling some tension on who you want to rank up when. Because that's how our salaries get paid, and our salaries need to be paid to give you cool stuff. Somebody wants to endow a foundation with hundreds of millions of dollars to pay Kabam employees to make champions for free for the next, I don't know, 20 years. Like, you're not going to hear me complaining, but I don't think that's particularly likely. Same ones here? Yeah. All right, let's get on those. Happy to get a good run with Daredevil. I'm also happy you got a good run with Daredevil. Happy New Year, Floyd. Fair, BT. I see that point, just weird timing. Yeah, fully granted. Um, People who I trust to be smart about this kind of thing, BT, seem not confident that we're going to hit it, but confident that our odds are good. So that's what I will say. Yeah, Neos. I think Coliseum very easily could have been Realm of Legends 2.0. Did somebody say something about escalating difficulty, Miguel? I didn't say every future Coliseum boss is going to be harder. I said it was important for the second one to not be a pushover. I would argue that you're straw manning. Unfortunately, it's a pretty educated guess. Yeah, but that's the problem, right? Is that like it's not straw manning if a significant loud portion of your audience is made of straw. Because the people who are tuning in to hear a game dev talk about this stuff are not the people I'm worried about. Like, I can say something went on the forum, something went in the patch notes. There was a message that went out, and honestly, I don't even care if y'all read it because you don't need to. You hear it from me or from Simula or from some other content creator, or you read the infographic that Kat made, or you saw something else that was screenshotted and passed around the chat rooms you're in. Like, you're not going to be the people who got confused and misunderstood the thing that we said very clearly for the most part. And if somebody then reminds you that we said that, you're probably going to go, huh, I forgot. As opposed to like, well, they can't expect me to read that message. They should have done something else. They should have come to my house and sung me a candy gram. Like, I'm not worried about y'all. And so if I slip into straw manning, then I apologize, but it feels like I've spent a lot of time arguing with straw. Or even if I'm not arguing with it, just being told that this is why people are angry. Ouch. It's weird to see Daredevil in a Battlegrounds deck, but then there was Venom the Duck, and I looked at the rest and I was like, okay, this guy has fun. That's cool. Hey, Happy New Year. It goes pretty well, all considered. Yeah, I think there are a lot of characters that would be interesting in Coliseum. There's also a lot that are difficult to pull off, right? Like, I think, depending on if it was solo or alliance and how much the tags matter and that kind of stuff, like... A Deathless Thanos very arguably wouldn't need any nodes at all, or would even need a beneficial one. People might actually learn how to deal with the special too. That'd be interesting. That depends on how good you are with Absorbing Man. Because I think there are some pretty exciting things that he can do. What broke with Carnage? Carnage's bleeds? I haven't seen him look like buffs in a while. That's weird. That was my fault. But yeah, I think Kingpin's a lot more automatic, and he can do dumb stuff against defenders with a lot of debuffs. I think it's possible Carl has a higher ceiling even in the current meta, but I'm honestly not sure. I haven't tested it exhaustively. Excuse me. Hey Josh, welcome. You mean the node that forced you to bait Special 2 after a few Special 1s? I do think there's a decent chance that if we did a Thanos fight that we might see that. The encounter designers like that node. There's a reason you saw it on Gore as well, right? I'm talking about the Wheel of Pain fight for those of you who haven't done it. I didn't realize he applied traumas defensively too. And again, I don't know that I've fought this symbiote in a while, if at all. Dude, I may have literally never fought. Interesting. Thanks, Inda. Happy to have the conversation. There are people that think that Kingpin is better than Absorbing Man. Yeah, I mean, there have always been people who think that Absorbing Man just isn't worth it if you're not fighting Terrax, basically. Well, this is a lousy matchup for Serpent, isn't it? Alright. Yeah, like, I care more about Carl, but I know I'm biased, and so I'm also trying to adapt for my bias. And I'm thinking, like, out of the most important, most automatic Absorbing Man matchups, Terax isn't really in Dex right now, nor is Annihilus. Um, but Photon sure is. And so, I don't know, maybe there is something to be said about Kingpin over Absorbing Man, but yeah, wouldn't be my pick. The giveaway did happen. I should probably pin that at this point. Go ahead and throw this. It won't do anything. Yep. I forgot that was still a drain and not a steal. Old mystics are so weird. We see a Deathless Thanos boss, Chilth is going to be so clutch. Yeah, I think that's very true. I did watch it, yes, Jay. For those who don't recognize, that's the third Knives Out movie. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really well done. Yeah, I thought it addressed the religious themes honestly, but with respect and empathy. Um, and as someone who is, sorry if this turns off anybody, but I am not religious, but I grew up in a very religious place. Um, that was cool to see, if that makes sense. Yeah, I thought it was really well done. Hey, Vader. Happy New Year, my friend. There are multiple skill shruggers, but there aren't really any other mystics with so many immunities. Yeah. Carl versus Photon, and he finished with 49 or 50k. That's really funny. That was probably an arms race, yeah. Is the Penance Stare worked into Ghost Rider's kit anywhere currently? I mean, I think that's the idea of Damnation, right? It's why it's such, excuse me, a busted debuff. I think that's basically it. I wish Damnation had stayed on OG Ghost Rider and not made it onto Cosmic Ghost Rider. I have no idea what any of Jubilee's stuff does. Ghost Rider Damnation should not deal with Death Immunity, no, because the buff removal part of it is still a Fate Seal. When you use Damnation on Serpent, the Damnation applies and deals direct damage, but the heal block and Fate Seal components do not apply. And so he gets... I think he just gets one immune call out because I set it up with the cooldown, but 2 immunities happen. Hey, Duke. Um, I think it used to happen more. We, what's the best way for me to say this? We see enough things, oh, stop it, Neos. We see enough things that we have to go through like IP protection training with Disney too. It's not just our game specific NDAs. So we are considered to have sensitive access in that sense. But like we don't know what's going to happen in movies. The example that we tend to point to is that like we knew Rintra was going to be in Multiverse of Madness, and so we made Rintra a character. We did not know that Rintra was going to have two lines and one of them was going to be screaming. So do with that what you will. Ouch. I respect that take, TC. I honestly don't know if I consider the new Knives Out better than the first one or not, but I also kind of don't care. A lot of y'all know that I'm not really a fan of focusing on rankings too much. That's fine. But I did think it was really well done, and I do think that the second of the trilogy has been the weakest so far, even though I also enjoyed it. A lot of annoying immunities here. But Storm versus Iron Man is actually worse, so let's just kill him with basics. Or if he's still alive when we get to the special 3, that's also fine. Here, help him. Killed him. No, I know Neos is just speaking. Personally, I hate the current version of the curse debuff, Nick. Because it's basically like if you want to call buff immunity Fate Seal Plus, then Cursed is Fate Seal plus plus plus, right? Not only can you not gain any buffs, and it's not really subject to immunity, but also I gain them, and it's pretty wild. Curious about my thoughts on the post-banquet economy. I personally still wish that we had just let the tier 5 alpha catalysts be on their own and hadn't accelerated Sigstones further, because I think that particular part of the economy is more cooked than I was expecting it to be coming out of this. But also, it's not that big a deal. We've clearly moved the needle forward on the StatCast economy. It's going to be interesting. I think that means that rank 3 StatCasts are probably going to be a thing sooner than I would have thought, but there's still plenty of room there. Given all of the Sig Stones that we're seeing people come out with, There have been no plans thus far to accelerate prestige further, but I wouldn't be surprised if that conversation happens within the next 6 months or so. Just because I could see the average prestige 30 rising faster than previously anticipated. And then I think, like, yeah, we're seeing a lot of rank fours, but it's not a huge deal. Because a lot of people at the top, even before Banquet, were at 30 rank fours, or like more than that, but enough to fill a Battlegrounds deck. And once you can fill a Battlegrounds deck, you're probably fighting in war exclusively with rank fours. You're probably placing exclusively rank fours. Your Coliseum options were probably mostly rank fours with some rank threes sprinkled in. Like I used Null at rank 3 in Coliseum. And so, like, yes, it's great to have more rank fours. It's great to have more rank threes and rank fours. But after 30, there is an element of diminishing returns. It's much harder for me to rank somebody who makes my Battlegrounds deck just by virtue of being rank 4 now. It's much harder for me to rank somebody who gets into my top 30. And so, like, I'm not worried about the acceleration. A lot of people had suspected for a while correctly that this was going to be the start of rank 5s. And from watching it, it looks like a gentle enough start to rank 5s. Yeah, like it's a sale like this is always going to accelerate things. It's always us burning a certain amount of runway. But looking around from a dev perspective, I'm not too worried. From a player perspective, I'm not too worried. And then kind of from both at the same time, it feels like the trade-off was worth it because we've obviously just there's so many more points in the Realm event than last year that just obviously means that we made more money. And so if I'm not worried looking at the economy acceleration and we made more money, then that's perfect. That's exactly what you want to see happen. And then we'll just kind of see what happens this next year with Ascension and stuff. I'm very curious. Very cool, Jay. I've never read Murder on the Orient Express. There's a lot of like classic murder stuff I haven't read. I did read And Then They Were None, though. I had an ex-girlfriend who was really into that, and so she got me onto that. It was fun. What are you doing? Yeah, I think that's fair, Elijah. It was a satisfying denouement, shall we say. I agree, Easy. It was cool to see Rintra in a movie. But yeah. It's just a good example for we don't always know what's coming. I agree with that on the Jabari thing, too. That's funny, Jay. That's cool. Yes, Curse is the Loki debuff from the Special 3. Six-star Ascension does not count towards Prestige. That is correct. Yeah, that's exactly what my concern was, Elijah, is that I thought we had a little bit more time with Sigs feeling important. But if it was worth it, if it was worth it, it was worth it. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. And that's okay. That's okay, because if you only have 4 rank 4s now, then like you may feel behind, but realistically, I don't think that you're more behind than you were. Right? Because you weren't at the top. And so the more important question is, do you feel like you made progress relative to what you put into it, and are you still having fun? Right? Because you're not at the top. And this event wasn't going to put you at the top without you outspending a bunch of people who are already there. So it's more important to ask, are you at peace with where you are right now? Bro, thank you. The way the AI is dealing with heavy charges right now is just so silly. This should not be happening. Yeah, I'm going to decline to answer that, Jarrell, just because I don't think that public discussions of champion power and goals are particularly productive. But yeah, no anger for asking. Sorry, Christian, the giveaway already happened. I made a post on my channel yesterday, and you had to have commented on it, and so I picked 3 people from there. But welcome. I probably should have titled the stream giveaway drawing. I don't know if that would have helped. You're not the first one to be confused, and I'm just thinking out loud for could I have avoided that. Nice, Hogan, I'm glad. I'm not surprised to see that take, Nick. But the funny thing is that if pretty much everybody is roughly the same size in Battlegrounds, that's actually really bad for whales. That's the kind of thing that we need to balance. That can't be the way it sits for too long. Hey, Clown, how's it going, friend? No, I think Philip's being a little bitter. I mean, there's only one answer to that, Philip. Ghost hasn't been released as a 7-star because she's powerful enough that we feel we have to be careful with when we release her. And it hasn't felt like a good decision yet. That's the long and short of it. Nice, Jetsi. Yeah, sure thing, Vader. That's cool, Indigo. Congrats. Tiger's very cool. Do you get experience from Battlegrounds matches? I'm pretty sure no, Fred. If the next question is why, I don't have an answer to that. I don't feel like I have a great grasp on what the systems team is trying to do with experience at the moment. I shouldn't speculate. I think all of the winners have already been contacted, Krijo. But congrats on your car. I did read through a few. I'm going to read through more later. But I appreciate the entry. Oh, boy. The cooling problem. The one who suggested the cold snap immunity on him. Stupid. Seven-star, Shannon. Yeah. Exactly, Clown. Yeah, I'm not worried about the whales. That was just a response to liking the game when everybody is at pretty much the same rank 5. Or at the same rank and rarity. And it's good for that to happen periodically, kind of to your point, right? The whales shouldn't be so far ahead that that doesn't happen from time to time. But that's not like a permanent resting place for the game, because if that happens, then it becomes very, very difficult to pay for an advantage in roster without us intentionally releasing overpowered champions and monetizing them aggressively, which I prefer we not do. Woo! That was a lucky miss there. I imagine everyone's going to be released eventually. My hope, Jency, is that some characters do get tweaks, but, like, if I were in charge, then Overpower wouldn't stack on Kingpin now that he's released, and that's clearly not what happened, so... Ability. Thanks so much for being a member, Rose fan. Justice for the whales. Any thoughts on Mr. Knight? I think it'd be very good in most content, maybe not the fastest. I like Mr. Knight a lot. I don't really have strong thoughts on his SIG. I remember thinking it was pretty niche, but I might be forgetting a line. Yeah. But I like the base kit a lot. Preferred relic, you probably just want something that boosts crit damage as much as possible. So what would that be, like Karnak? Yeah, I don't know exactly where Mr. Knight's place in the game is going to be, but I do think my colleague said when he was released that he was a champion that scared him, because he was like, this character is not going to be really highly regarded at launch. He was pretty confident because he was weird, he was complex, he was difficult to use, and that's the kind of character that tends to go under the radar. But he was also like, I keep getting glimpses of him being able to do really stupid things. And that's the kind of character that ages well. That somebody is going to, like, make their flagship character and put to use everywhere. And then that's when people will realize he's really top tier. And so I'm kind of waiting for that as well. Philip, don't try and catch me in gotchas. You don't have to ask leading questions like that. I'm happy to provide insight here, but if you're starting to sound like a reporter, don't. Yes, Jay, I did suggest the line because of, or suggest the immunity because of the line of the movie. Also because it was still a relatively rare immunity, and I felt like it made sense to make him a little tanky against Kate on defense, because she was a bit of a problem at the moment, while also giving him a target of Iceman. I thought it was cool, but it was specifically because of the line of the movie. I know I have something of a reputation for not caring about lore as much as some people want me to, but I love a good lore-appropriate ability. Buddy. Ouch. Don't even start, Elijah. I'm not laughing at that one. Oh yeah, Blue Marvel's done. Blue Marvel was done before I wrapped up for the holidays. And honestly, he should have been done sooner than he was. I was a little late coming off of being sick at Summoners Fest. It happens. Oof. I think Frankencastle is very good. He's weird, but that's one of the things his designer does best, is building weird characters and making them work in MCOC. And I think Frank is no exception. I think Frank is very powerful. I think he has some very good abilities. The combo gain on debuff is cool. The crush is very strong. The way it interacts with the combo gain on debuff is kind of busted. And his damage is very good. Crit, please. No. Hey, Jethro. I am somebody. Yeah, I like Mr. Knight a lot. That's the kind of question I can't answer, and it's also the kind of question that, bluntly, I don't think we're really planning for. Because as far as I know, the people in charge are very much intending for us to hold on to this game for years, right? Like, we are planning out what happens after Ascension in early stages, right? We are trying to build more game modes beyond what we have. We're trying to refactor important pieces of code so that we can be more creative and interesting in the future. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we are doing to try and make sure that we keep this game running for years. So we're not really thinking or talking, at least, too much about what to do if it eventually gets sunset. Yeah, like I won't say nobody has talked about that because I'm not senior enough to necessarily know if they had. But I haven't seen any of those talks. Nice, Josh. The Wasp buzz after her heavy. Yeah, it's really good. If using 1-star champs is forgetting they have no kit. Absolutely. Yeah, you probably won't see him in the next live stream because Blue Marvel, like the other February champion, will be um probably in the one after that. Who's another character Frank's designer made? Um, their most recent one before Frank, if I'm remembering correctly, was Lumitrix, who I think we can agree is very creative. But it was there from their very first one, right? Their first character was Sandman, who was like, what if MCOC had a grappler, right? It's funny, Inda. Speak of the devil. Ooh, that's a tough choice. I'm gonna take a Koya because she's probably silly at that rarity. No, you can't do this to me. Oh, I already have Nico. Okay, okay. That was still a brutal choice. These are fun. Okay. So I have all three of my kids. 2-star rarity from this year. No, Dilly. Root was around before him. It's why Sandman has Root. Ooh. I'm gonna take Dracula, even though Yelena is objectively more powerful, because I think that's fun. Ooh. Samurai's a good one here. Okay. Sorry, Peter. Come back one more time, please. I don't know that he's going to. I'll just use one of my 7 million 2-star gems. Oh, wait. Okay, gotta take G. Cool. That was a success. Oh, no, they're very satisfying, Elijah. I love it. Oh, yeah, Cassandra was their most recent one, not Lumitrix. My bad. No worries, TC. I I don't think that we plan to make an official source of like who built what, but that doesn't mean you're not allowed to share what you know. I have no concerns with that. Okay, I guess Emma's getting SIGs. Who's going to introduce jumping? Somebody who has more pull with the art team than I do. No units. Ooh. Yeah, there are a lot of things in our game that rely on the fact that MCOC is like 95% a one-dimensional game. There's technically a couple things that can listen for the y-axis, but it's almost all on X. And that's intentional. So jumping would be a tough sell. Honestly, Easy, there's probably a decent chance you had more of them in the first place. But yeah, that was decently lucky. Mr. Knight was Kabam Niv, who's the team lead, so I'm not even going to try and name everyone he's built. It's at least 20 at this point. I will give you one. He designed Mr. Fantastic back in the day. He actually designed all of the Fantastic Four. That's really cool, Nick. And I say that's really cool because I have asked for things along those lines before. Um, the way I'm going to put it is whenever you hit a character, right, with a punch or a projectile or whatever, they have hit reactions, right? Which basically just means that they go, ugh, and they like move backwards to show that they've been hit. Those hit reactions only work one way. Characters only have hit reactions towards their own wall. For us to do like wraparound hit from behind mechanics or pull mechanics like a scorpion get over here, like it's any of those would require us to build out inverted hit reactions for like every character in the game. And even if we do really basic ones, that probably means like at least 6 or 7 sets because we would need them for different body types, that kind of stuff. A couple different variations, even for like the medium ones. It would potentially be a lot of work as well as increasing the size of the game because we'd be storing more animations in each character's what we call their prefab. Um, and again, it's not a hard no forever because I would think it would be really, really cool. But it's a lot of work. And that's why nobody has pulled the trigger. And Nick brings up another thing is that, yeah, we don't. Actually, every character has a get up from chest animation. The problem is that, like, there's not a knockdown forward animation. And, like, that's one of what we call our recoil animations, right? There's the knockdown animation itself is called recoil heavy because it's your hit reaction for being struck by a heavy, right, is to be knocked down, and then it's also used for specials. So we would need a like recoil heavy front as well as like other smaller ones, and it's a lot. Sure sounds like DLL's working on a Nightcrawler buff. I will say the first time I remember bringing this up was when I was designing Kushala. Because in her special 2, you notice she has that like pulling energy out of you. Um, but like we do that entirely with VFX. She's pulling the energy towards herself, but the opponent is still getting hit backwards. And I asked like, could we pull the enemy towards her and like then explode? And I was basically told, in similar words to what I just told y'all, absolutely not. But it would be cool if we could. I would love that as well, Josh. Like, I would happily trade in some 5 or 6 star awakening gems for, like, I don't know, 20 rank 2 gems. But the only problem with that is that somebody has to build it as a trade-in, and it has to live somewhere in the store, which technically increases store bloat. And you have to worry about people being, I need to use a gentle word, undiscerning, and accidentally clicking on it and saying yes, they're sure they would like to trade down, and then realizing what happened and then yelling at support and saying why is that option even there, and then support has to go to economy and they go, I don't really have a reason for that option to be there, but some weirdo collectors said that they missed being able to awaken 2 stars, so that's why it's there. Doesn't mean we can't do it. But there are a few hurdles. Yeah, I think we just covered one of them, Indigo, but I'll give you another one. I did pitch on a character once that they would have different modes and that their special animations would be different depending on the mode. And so, like, yeah, I'll say this. This was when we were going through the art brainstorm process for Patriot. He was intended to be a harder defender. He was originally going to ship it like a 4. We obviously pulled that way back, right? Hey, Phil, how's it going? Um, but at the time, my thought was like, okay, reversal itself isn't that dangerous. But what if, like, just after a reversal, while he has like the precision or the fury up or whatever, he actually throws different specials that are harder to evade, that are more likely to crit into your block, that kind of thing. And at the time, at least, and this is still true right now, we didn't have the tech for that. We couldn't swap out an animation. But that is the kind of thing that I would love to have in the future. Yeah, we are part of the art process. I don't do any of the art. Like, I don't use Motion Builder or any of those kind of tools. But we are there from the beginning in the brainstorm process. We give feedback on the animations, on the VFX. We run play tests where they don't have kits and like play around with them and then send feedback back to the art team from that on like, hey, the Dex animation feels wonky. Can you like clean this up in some spot? That kind of thing. Happy New Year, Snoozy. Be fun, Nick. Okay, how long have I been going? 2 hours. Wow. I did not realize. Yeah, came along well. Okay, and I could take up another rank 4. I don't mind showing this off. Where are these at? Okay, so 9, 8, 8, 9, 9, 9. Okay, so skill, mutant, mystic. I don't know. Chothra would be a good prestige play with the SIGs coming in. Demo's good. I've loved Mojo for a long time. He's pretty tempting. There's good stuff in here. Like, I'm not mentioning a whole bunch of characters I really like. Enchantress would be a good everyone seems to have a rank 4 except me option. I promise we'll be careful if we ever do anything like that, Clown, but I get it. I get it. I think there's a chance, Mohammed, yes. What's Mojo's Sig at? 60? Okay. He's good at max Sig, but he doesn't necessarily need it, because this is what, like 130% Fury, roughly? 28-ish, somewhere in there. And it maxes out at 200%. Like, obviously, more attack is good. I do have some Mystic Stones. Yeah, let's take Mojo up. Alright, how high can we go? 20 sounds good. Cool. That's closer to 150% Fury. He jumped a bit. Let's do this. Now, the real question is, do I use the gem, or it's probably smarter while I still have it to go ahead and come over here to Radiance. This way. That'd be tough, Nick. I can imagine that being a fair amount to code. But I definitely get where you're coming from. Moondragon, Josh. And yeah, she's tempting as well. I like her a lot. Yeah, I think Zola's still worth it. He's got counters, but man, is he annoying. Unique special threes are different, Neos. Like, that's easier for us to do. We've had that tech for a while, ever since, like, the Rocket Raccoon stuff. Um, oh, right, Jane. Okay, well, leaving her because hoping to get her shiny. Yeah, Mojo and Coliseum is a good shout. I was considering Kindred as well. It's okay, TC. I've spent a little bit for them. I am not going to be sharing that just yet, Mod, but tomorrow when it's over, I think I will go ahead and compile the records I have of my crystal openings. I'm definitely missing a few, but and then we can talk about it. How many unknown 7 stars do I have now? I know there are a few. I'm not. Oh god, we're down to 2 rows. Woof. And one of these might disappear in 24 hours. Dang. I mean, I'm just using the catalysts, but also kind of. As you can see, I still have a tier 7 basic in overflow, and I think, yeah, I still have some tier 4 alphas. Once I claim, that'll go down to also +1, but yeah, got some stuff to do there. Miguel, it's yours. I'm so conflicted, Clown. Because I hate banning Starkey in Battlegrounds. He's so annoying. But there's also a decent chance that I'll just keep banning him even if I have him, which leans Miguel. And I do just need to actually do the Karina's challenges. Is that the real answer? Thanks, Madrox. All right, I just caught myself yawning, which I think means I need a snack or maybe an afternoon nap. Thanks for clown 2026. No, I am legitimately torn. Because it's made me sad that I've never really gotten to play around with Miguel, and like I imagine him having some real Coliseum viability too, now that we're there. Anywho. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Congrats to the winners of the giveaway, but also thank you for everybody who entered, because I'm serious. I'm going to read through all of these, and I really appreciate all of the moments. It's cool stuff. Yeah, thank you, everybody, and Happy New Year. Good luck with final placements, and see you soon.